everyone. Thursday, November 17th, and it's time to go to work on music. And I was feeling a little resistance this morning, and not always, but I often, or I guess I would say sometimes, maybe often, do feel like even though pretty much my whole life is built around having time to do music, sometimes when it's time to go to work, I still feel resistance. And there's a great book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and I would highly recommend you check that out because there are these internal forces within us that just keep us from pursuing what we really want. And it's a shame when those things overcome us. We're all human, and sometimes we succumb to those forces, and that's not a problem as long as you eventually find a way back on the path. And one of the ways you find out if you're on the path or not sometimes is you stray off and then you realize, oh, I'm not going where I want to go, and that's fine. It's not an excuse to stop trying, but it definitely is a force that's worth understanding as best as we possibly can so that we can really act from a place of love and passion and excitement and reaching for fulfillment rather than fear and just wanting to be safe all the time. And it's not a problem to want to be safe all the time. I mean, I want to feel that way. I don't like experiencing fear or pain. It's not pleasant by definition, but those things are a fact of life, and they're all an opportunity to grow and become a better, more complete, and more powerful version of yourself. And I don't think that that I should, or any of us should suppress those things. I think we should embrace them and understand them and find a way to harness their energy because they're incredibly powerful internal forces. And that's probably a lifelong journey for all of us. Sometimes I'm in a really great place with that, and other times I'm not. But I think the main denominator, if you want to succeed and you want to win, is you show up and you go to work no matter how you're feeling. You're feeling afraid, you're feeling excited, you're feeling tired, you're feeling ready to go. And you ask from yourself the best that you have to give on that particular day. And of course that's going to vary sometimes. Some days your best is going to be up here, some days your best is going to be, you're sick in bed, you can't get up, and you just do the best that you possibly can to just believe in yourself, stay positive, and find a way to get work done even when you're feeling like dirt. So that was just on my mind today, and here we go. All right, really good learning session there. Definitely on the longer side. I don't know that I was as focused as I generally am. I'm not feeling good about that, but it definitely ties into what I was talking about earlier in the video. But took a final on that learning how to learn class, and just awesome class. I've got nothing but great things to say about that. I think everyone ought to at least check it out. Do yourself a favor there, educate your mind, and it's free. I mean, you have very little to lose by checking it out, and the videos are very digestible. Honestly, I took that class like 5 to 20 minutes at a time, just once a day for like a couple months straight. Just sat down for a few minutes here and there, and really adds up. So did that, took a break, and discovered a new looping artist online, although I don't know. There's this new genre sort of emerging with Ableton, which is definitely cool. It's not what I would call live looping in the purest sense. It merges some live loops with some pre-recorded things, and I've definitely done that in the past. But with Ableton, it really makes that stuff a lot easier. And I'm not taking anything away from artists who use that, but there's a reason that is becoming so popular, and I think it's great. Honestly, I think that technology and the ability to make it cool and dynamic for listeners should be available, and that people should take advantage of it. But I also can't help but feel that it's just different. I think it's just a little bit different than what I'm doing, and I don't know what it is about it, but I'm not quite as I am drawn to it, but I just don't know how I feel about it. I just haven't made up my mind about it, which is fine. Um, I am going to. Oh, so then I was doing some genre research and making headway there. I think patience is definitely going to pay off for me there. And then just finding a few bands, even if it is independent of genre, that I can tap into their fan bases and see if what I'm doing really responds to them. And if it doesn't, then no big deal. But if it does, then that's an opportunity maybe for me to start getting some traction on the business front. But there can be definite conflict between the business side of things and the artistic side of things, and I feel it. I really feel it, and I personally have not made up my mind, you know, if this is going to be a quote unquote business, or if this is something that's just going to be purely for expression. And my hope would be there can be some harmony between those things, as I've spoken about recently. And how do you know unless you try? How do you know unless you try, guys? I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so I'll give it a go and we'll see what happens. But at least if I move on, I can say like, hey, I really went down that path, and I know where that path goes, and that's not what I want to do, or oh, that is what I want to do, or I'm on this new path now. That clarity is really definitely a big part of what I'm after here. But I don't want to say too much about that. But there is so much to say. Man, there's so much to say, just about that and about everything. But let's get into some drum practice. Here we go. Alright, camera just died, so we're switching over to camera 2 right now. Alright, back from a good break. Did some errands, got out of the house a little bit, took a walk, and it's always good to break up the day a little bit for me on the practice front. Not always, but it can be good. Sad thing is I did lose a little bit of momentum, but I made a lot more progress earlier today than I thought I was going to, even though I felt like I wasn't quite in the groove. So I'm going to get back to it for a little bit here. I don't know exactly how long I'm going to go. But I'm going to hit the tune I was working on a little earlier, get some spaced repetition in, and then I am going to practice a tune I did last week, and then I am probably going to start working on the tune that I want to finish by the end of the weekend. And my hope is that's not going to be too much of a struggle just to get it sketched and outlined. I'm not looking to really finish any versions here because the sound is going to change, the balance is going to change as I plug into the PA, and I want to leave that polishing phase for a little bit later, especially because I'm changing my monitoring setup and a lot of stuff that I'll walk you guys through later. But for now, I'm just going to hit this stuff again real quick because I have the time and I want to use it right. And then I'm probably going to take a shorter day tomorrow. We'll see. I always tell myself that, and then I just work. But here we go.